All right, we're going to go ahead and start. So this is the IAP Young Affiliates engagement session. My name is Sophia Nordt. I am a part of the IAP Secretariat based in Washington, D.C., and along with Peter McGrath, who is based at the Trieste Secretariat, we will be the moderators today. So for a bit of background, at the last General Assembly in 2022, IAP agreed to explore deeper engagement with young academies and cohort-based leadership programs. Over the last 3 years, the membership committee and the subcommittee on young academies examined and assessed the benefits and parameters of affiliation, resulting in the creation of a new category of young affiliate. The young affiliates category provides young academies a platform to engage in global scientific discussions and policy initiatives, access to a network of established academies and leading experts across disciplines and regions, participation in capacity building programs, workshops, and collaborative projects, and visibility and recognition within the international scientific community. This year, IAP welcomed 11 young academies as young affiliates. These academies bring fresh perspectives, innovation to global science and policy work. Today, we have representatives from 5 young affiliates, including, and I apologize if I mispronounce anyone's names, Hema Sundara Siva Ramakrishna Mate and Nishant Chakravorty from the Indian National Young Academy of Science, David Lockhart from the South African Young Academy of Science, Celestine Mutuyamana and Clement Meier from the Swiss Young Academy, Frank Corbin and Josephine Pepper from the UK Young Academy, Kai Kano from the Young Academy of Japan, and we are also joined by Beate Wagner from the Global Young Academy and Stephanie Burton, who serves as an IAP co-chair and was vital to the young affiliate development process. So the format for this will be a pretty informal roundtable, although we all are very lined up. I'm going to go ahead and move straight into questions, but if you could please share your name and academy when you answer your first question. So IAP would really love to know, how is your academy strengthened by affiliation with IAP, and why did you want to join us? And we will be passing mics as well. So if anyone would like to start. Or I can just pick someone. Okay, we'll go down the line. How is your academy strengthened by affiliation with IAP? So why did you want to join us, essentially?
Yeah, so I'm Ramakrishna Mate from Indian National Young Academy of Sciences, with our parent organization being Indian National Science Academy, which is based in Delhi. Maybe if you ask me in one-liner about why we have joined for IAP is because as an young academy, we are only a 10-year-old. We have just celebrated 10 years, and we have a lot of process and systems in place over the 10 years, but we still want to improve and things make better, how to successfully run an academy down the line. So by interacting with various other academies, we thought that would help us to enable to make our systems even better. So the main agenda is to learn the best practices from the other academies, particularly the young academies, and see how we can strengthen our organization even more. So that's one line. And the second aspect is also we are interested to looking from a self-sustainability aspect. So we also want to learn from other academies on how to make, of course, we do get a lot of support, but still you still want to have to make your own process, make it more sustainable for fundraising to doing the other activities. So yeah, these are the 2 main reasons why we have joined IAP or applied for the IAP Young Affiliate. If we can get these 2 things down the line, I think that would be the purpose. And at the same time, we also would like to contribute to the IAP's mission and vision, particularly from an Indian continent's perspective. If there is any specific message which needs to be taken, we having the members of around 120 people across India. So I think we should be able to do that as well. So that's short, and probably I'll add more over the time. Yeah.
Thank
Yeah, sure.
Good morning, everyone. I'm David Lockhart. I'm a representative and co-chair of this African Young Academy of Science. Yeah, so just in terms of touching on that question, our Young Academy has been sort of working around three themes for quite a few years now: capacity building, policy influence, science discovery, and science communication. And I think that aligns quite well with the purpose and mission of the IAP and the Young Affiliates Program as well. So I think we found some common interests there. I think from our perspective, we also want to get an idea of what the regional challenges are with regards to science academies and their role in science advocacy, science advice, and diplomacy. But also, how we could align with the various global challenges that different regions are also facing. I think from a personal perspective, we want to also develop or try to develop a community of practice around shared goals and also learn via the other young affiliates and also through the senior academies with regards to stakeholder engagement. I think ultimately we want to empower our members and the broader science community in terms of doing the right work to move the needle and make sustainable change around the world. Thank you.
Well, my name is Beate Wagner, Global Young Academy Office, and our situation is a little different. Global Young Academy is a full member of IAP since 2019, but we try to encourage IAP to open up for young academies, and we are really happy to see this young affiliates now happening. We joined because giving a voice to young researchers is the aim of Global Young Academy, and we want to give this voice in very different settings, and the academy setting is an important one, and young academies are being founded because of there is a obvious deficit in academies, and IAP is the perfect surrounding to have this conversation, and seeing IAP being open to early career researchers, well, for GYA in the beginning and now for young academies globally is a fantastic development. And we hope that we can help to strengthen this move in the years to come.
Yeah. Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Clement from Switzerland, from the Swiss Young Academy. I think many of the reasons were already raised why we decided to join. But in Switzerland, we are a super small country, and we like to be part of any association, and we like to learn from others, and also not to do our own thing on our own. So this was mainly this, and we are early. We just recently joined, so we are eager to learn how we can collaborate more and how this can be a two-way improvement. I don't know if you want to add something, Celestine?
Yeah, just small. It's like our Swiss Young Academy always works with also senior young academies in Switzerland, and AIP, we know we could have not only Swiss senior young academies, but we can also be connected and linked to international senior young academies, learning from their experiences, exchanges. But we also want to contribute to what we do as a Swiss Young Academy, where we are doing much research, statement, policy making, and then we want to contribute also to this AIP. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Frank Corbon, UK Young Academy with Josie here. UK Young Academy just lately got engaged with IAP. From our side, 140 members. I think the international aspect, you can see it through our members already. And I will just pass.
Just to add to that, I'm Josephine Pepper from the UK Young Academy. We're really excited to be a part of this, particularly because the UK Young Academy is committed to global collaboration, and I think we would all agree that's becoming more important, not less important in today's climate. We have dedicated working groups and project streams that are explicitly motivated by maintaining global collaborations, and we're really excited to learn from everyone on the panel today and at IAP to think what we can do from our side and what we can learn from your side. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Kei Kano from Japan. So I'm a member of Young Academy of Japan, and it's my honor to be here, and it's my honor to participate in the IAP as a newcomer. So we, 2 years ago, we published a policy paper about the 10 critical issues in Japan, and we organized the international conference for the ecosystem for the sustainable innovation last year. And we realized that so we need to expand our network to solve the problems in Japan, together with the international academy partner. So IAP is a perfect place for expanding our networks, and we are very looking forward to having a discussion about the global issues related to the younger academy. Thank you.
Okay, great. And we will also ask Nishant if he would like to speak as well.
Yeah, thank you so much. So firstly, my apologies that I could not be there in person. But of course, it would have been a great opportunity. Nevertheless, we have Dr. Mate already representing INEAS. And he has covered most of the points. But additionally, I just would like to add a few things. That one of the prime reasons of our consideration to join IAP was when we were thinking about how our mandates and our kind of activities aligned pretty much very well with the IAP's mandates and the kind of initiatives that IAP takes. Take the example, I mean, today morning itself, we were discussing a lot on the research assessments and research ethical standards and integrity related things. So these are some of the issues. I mean, this is one issue which is of very prime importance for INEAS as a young academy where we want to focus upon. Then open science is something that is of great importance that we are looking at. Evidence-based science, for example, and science advisory policies. I think most of us are agreeing here that collaboration at a global standard is something which is of importance for each one of us. And so INEAS is no different. So we have been a member of IAC as well. And one of our core committee members had an opportunity to go to the the ISC conference as well this year, early January. And so what we realize is that once we are able to get more closely aligned with our academies in the global platform, I think that's going to help each one of us to work together more closely and specifically raising the concerns and voices of our young researchers, and at the same time also start discussing at a global platform and intergenerational discussion that needs to work together hand in hand. So it's not that only the young researchers are working in their own silos, which is kind of nowadays, when I was looking at today's discussion also, it came to my realization that I think we are now starting to also discuss how the different generations of scientists and researchers are starting to think. So unless we are able to bring on the platforms where people from all different aspects, including intergenerational discussions, are going together, I think it becomes more and more difficult to work together. So I think IAP is a great platform in that sense as well. We had an early discussion on an online platform as well with some of the other young affiliates who have joined this year. So we did see quite a few things which were in common. So it, I think, is of our own interest if we can bring some ideas on the table today where we can start working together, where I guess IAP is certainly there with us to help us initiate these initiatives and maybe bring them at a platform, at a level where I think we can be more self-sustainable with these initiatives, which we can think about. And wish everyone all the very best. And I wish I could have been there, but yes, I'm always there with any kind of initiatives that we are bringing in onto the table together. Thank you.
Thank you. You mentioned intergenerational collaboration as well as identifying initiatives for collaboration, which brings me to my next question. In what ways do you think IAP could best engage with your academy? This includes, what are some key priorities for your academy? What are areas that you would like to see IAP address? For those from senior academies, it would be great if you could share how your academy has engaged with young academies in the past. I will also ask Peter if he is interested to share from the Secretariat perspective how young academies might engage in the future and how they have in the past. I will open the floor. Stephanie, would you like to go first?
Yeah, so I speak from two positions. One is as a member of the IAP board and having been very involved in the process of establishing how we have young academies associate, and then also from my experience with the South African Academy of Science of South Africa and our inclusion of the South African Young Academy of Science. So let me start with the IAP role. You know, academies are somewhat traditional, and they basically, most of us have a mandate or a mission which expresses recognition of achievement, recognition of excellence in science in its broadest terms, and recognition of contributions that are made by members. So when you look at it like that, in my view, you certainly can't ignore the power of new ideas and the power of the contributions that can be made by the whole academic community. There's nothing that says that because you're old, you have better ideas. And so when we started the discussion around how to include young academies, which actually has been a discussion for some time, some years, it was really about sharing of those new ideas, the contributions that every member of a young academy can make, and the kind of wisdom that established academies can give back. So we had the discussion about whether academies should become, young academies should become full members, but of course, traditionally, academies have a set of criteria which they use to ascertain membership of their own academies, and the IAP has a set of criteria for membership as of one academy of the whole IAP. So we had to take a look at the way in which young academies are constituted, because they are different. Different young academies have very different ways of attracting members, different ways in which they establish membership, and different ways in which they are affiliated with their own national academies. All of that is just really saying it's not a simple road. But we have spent some time discussing how best we can associate with young academies and include them, and I'm really delighted to see how many young academies have shown interest, become associated, affiliated with the IAP. let me just turn very briefly to our own national situation. The South African Young Academy of Science was established long before the IAP started to talk about affiliation of young academies. In fact, it was at least 10 years ago, David, when it became very clear that we could see, perhaps because we're a relatively small community, but we could see young people in their academic roles, in their research roles, shining. And we wanted to be able to interact with those young people and to include them in the kind of opinions, policy influence that we might have, and to recognize their achievements. So the South African Young Academy of Sciences was established as a part of our South African Academy of Sciences. And it has been participating in all of our different activities. We invite their feedback or their reactions to any of the events that we have. We invite their participation and we recognize their achievements as well. It is, I think, a happy association. We occasionally, of course, don't necessarily share the same ideas, but we do listen. And I think that our Young Academy also listens to us. And the last thing I want to say is that there is a two-way process here. I think that academies have huge capacity to offer wisdom and mentorship to young academies, just as much as we wish to and need to listen to those powerful new ideas. So I think there's potential for doing it. I'm very pleased that the IAP has made this step, and I hope that it'll grow in the linkages between the young academies and the established IAP. Thank you.
Thank you. Would anyone from the young academies like to speak about? Sorry. In what ways can IAP best engage with your academy? Or Peter can speak first. Let's go ahead.
Yeah, this is the crucial, or as I said, is the learning from the experiences of what they went through during the implementation of the policies, challenges, profits, or how young scientists can learn from the experience of senior scientists. And again, how can we not only include, how can we extend, spread what we have to the general audiences? Because and sometimes what we produce as reports, research policies, they are always in reports, but how these reports may become impactful for the entire communities.
Thank you. I just want to touch on that point as well. I think, yeah, it's quite important, and I made this point before, developing a type of community of practice. And I think, you know, networks and new collaborations are always welcome, but I think this community of practice is also quite important. Not only from the point of view of, you know, research practices, research assessment, and we heard a little bit about that in the first session this morning in the other room, but more so in terms of, you know, what my colleague here has said, formulating these ideas, but how to make those ideas more impactful. The senior academies obviously have their pathway in order to enable that. And I think it's quite important for those with some fresh ideas to also get that voice and be able to access that pathway. And I think this partnership is actually one of those enablers as well.
Well, if no one wants to jump in right now, I will hand it over to Peter to speak a bit from the IAP perspective, and then we will circle back to you all.
Okay, thank you. I'm not sure if this is the first time the moderator has been put on the spot to to answer a question, but I think one discussion we've been having in IAP for more than 3 years, 5 years, is how to diversify the inputs into our projects and programs, into the reports and statements that we produce. We realize that we need more and more gender balance, which I have to say that let's say the senior academies are not always best adapted to provide sort of female experts to contribute. The proportion of scientists that they have elected over the years, that many are doing a better job now, but there is still an overwhelming majority of men in academies. Our membership is largely academies of science and medicine, and therefore we miss out to a large degree on the social sciences, for example. A number of our academies do engage the social sciences also, so it's not across the board. But and this brings me to my point that the young academies, the GYA, I remember we did a survey of women in academies, women in leadership in academies 5 years ago, and we'll actually tomorrow or the next day, one of the sessions will be sort of showing some of the results from the latest survey we've done. But it was notable that the GYA as an academy was born gender balanced. And I think that goes also for many of the young academies. This is something they have taken on board from the beginning. And they've also taken on board the idea of scientific discipline across all aspects of science, the social sciences included. And I think this can be a great input into IAP's work, having access to those sort of young, vibrant minds, but from across all the aspects of diversity that we understand we need to input into our programs and projects.
Would anyone like to?
I think as an young academy, we are doing, among the points that you touched upon on the gender ratio, as an young academy, probably ideally don't know the statistics of other academies, but I can definitely put the statistics of our INIAS. We have, there are two aspects of it. The male to female ratio is around 30% female and the 70% male. But that's not the point that I want to highlight. We are trying our best to make it even more. But if you see, we also have a leadership positions, which is what we call as a core committee. In that is almost 50-50. And our core committee is also through elections. So it means that typically a person would be elected if they contributed well to the academy. So though the representation was 30:70, but their participation is really high, at least in INIAS. And because of that, they could get into the leadership roles as well. So I think we are doing our part from the gender part, and probably want to know from other academies how it goes from the gender perspective. Yeah.
One of the things that's very important to the UK Young Academy is breaking down silos. So whether that's silos between disciplines or backgrounds within the sciences or the social sciences, between countries, between ages and career stages, but also in the UK Young Academy between sectors. So I think something that's unusual about the UK Young Academy is that we have representatives from the private sector and industry working with science as well as from the pure sciences. And therefore, I think we've talked a bit on this panel already about breaking down silos and cross-collaboration. But one of the things we're really hoping to be able to contribute to IAP, but also to kind of get back from IAP, is that knowledge sharing, but also that network sharing, opportunity sharing, and kind of perspective sharing. So many of our existing projects are cross-cutting, but we'd really like to expand that And I think working with the IAP is going to be a very exciting opportunity to tap into some new avenues, some new networks, some new ways of thinking, and some new people. So just wanted to put that into the discussion. Thank you.
Connect. So thank you for raising the important issue. So in Japan, so the women in STEM is the worst in OECD countries. So in this situation, as a young Academy of Japan, we are trying to take a balance between men and women in terms of the numbers as well as the quality of research in women in STEM. So, but it's very difficult to manage it because of the scarce numbers of the women in STEM. So we are talking about the burden or gender tax for the women. So many women in STEM field can have a overburden for the committees of the something and I mean that. So there are many women involved in the social commitment as well as the academic commitment and teaching commitment in the universities more than men. So I think taking a balance between genders and between abilities and disabilities or something like that. So from the perspective of diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility, so we need to be more careful about younger generations in terms of the implementing research policy or implementing some fundings for women or the diversity. And we don't have any single solution for that. So we need your help. So we need a global help for solving the problem. So in Japan, so there are many domestic, so the dominant male dominant culture in Japan. So we need to improve the situation in terms of the women in STEM. Thank you.
I will just add another point from the UK side. We see the value of having different people for the ID side, but also it's about execution. We see that with the different people we have in the UKYA, that actually we can go faster. We know what mistakes, how to go faster on different subjects. So the idea with the more senior academies is also to gain on that. So to work closely with IAP.
Okay. Gender diversity is one that comes up a lot. Other topics we have heard that are of interest or key issues for young academies include open science, trust in science, science diplomacy. Would any of you like to speak as to other areas of concern or interest that you would like IAP to address, or of the ones that I've already mentioned? Any thoughts on potential collaborations or directions we could go?
Thank you very much for the interesting questions. For us in the Swiss Young Academy, we started working on this idea of compassionate science, where we try to improve the trust between science and society. And to do so, we are thinking in the method we use when we do science to try to have compassionate ones, using empathy and compassion when we collect the data, when we analyze the data, and also how we promote the data. And I think this could be key because it's, I think a lot of what we have learned so far, sometimes it could be, I don't know how to say it well, but it could be more in a colonial way somehow, that we always take from some communities and don't really give back. And nowadays we know that there are many methods to include the community from the beginning or to communicate differently. And I think this could be something we could explore together. And it goes well also with this research should be sustainable for the future and all the crises that are coming to hit us, unfortunately. So yeah.
That really strikes a note for me. And let me just make this comment. I also have experience of running a fellowship program where the fellows are early career academics in, at the moment, 11 different countries in Africa. And many of them are doing the kind of science which involves community engagement. And the way in which it is done is often very, very challenging, just doing that kind of work, as we've heard several times today. And a lot of our young scientists are involved and working hard on that, exactly that kind of approach to the science that they want to do. One of the other things that I call them my fellows, they are the fellows in my program, often say is that they would like more guidance and more mentorship, and would really appreciate contact and wisdom from academics, scientists around them in their own institutions and in their own communities and countries. And I think that's something that the academies can give to the young academies, is that availability, which is not to say that senior academics should be instructing junior academics. It's simply offering mentorship, ideas, guidance, wisdom at a time when the young scientists are finding it challenging. I think that perhaps the senior academies should be seeing that as a really important role, that not to impose, but to offer to the young academies. Thank you.
I can continue on this point. I think, yeah, mentorships very, very important. I think from even like what funding to go to when you're early stage for the young academy members. Then also, like if you get some funding more, like you have a report every year or so on, I think having something more regular would be helpful to do more with actually even less funding at a time where like everybody is constrained in terms of time. I think there should be some path to work together with between the young academies and the more senior one.
Beate, would you like to?
Sorry. Thank you. Well, I just wanted to build on what Stefanie Burton just said. Mentorship. GYA started off with a program with it was a ambitious research program done by early career researchers themselves, exploring their own situation, the global state of the young scientist. We have some further project ideas in certain regions still on the shelf, but not doing a lot at the moment. But the initial study had some shortcomings, and one was mentorship. There is a need, and a reflected need with early career researchers globally for mentorship, and you described it perfectly well. Mentorship is helping somebody to develop as an independent scientist and not teaching and prescribing things. And I think if IAP is helpful in that, and if I remember correctly, IAP has been open and is probably now increasingly open for early career researchers, academies, for young academies to cooperate in their calls. So a cooperation between a senior academy and a young academy, and not the South African pair only, but South Africa Young Academy could collaborate with German Senior Academy because it's topical. And I think this is a good next opportunity, which has been there, but should develop. And if I may take the advantage that I have the microphone, also add that Global Young Academy, well, the members are a young academy in its own with a global membership. But on the other hand, in our constitution, there is also the idea that we help a network of young academies. That is because Global Young Academy has also grown out of a national young academy, at the time, the German Young Academy. But the networking is a quest for us. And I think IAP, with building up the Young Affiliates program, helps with the networking of young academies. So there is another layer of opportunities to exchange experiences between you. Well, GYA has this, and we will still work on that. I'm pretty certain that future generations will not stop. But for this new 11 very global crowd in the IAP network, this is a good opportunity. And I think, yeah, I congratulate IAP for having already 11, that this is a meaningful endeavor.
Just to reiterate Beate's point, young academies have been very active in IAP's small grant program over the past few years in collaboration with senior academies. Usually the respective senior academy, but not always. Would anyone else like to answer the question about key areas? Otherwise, I will open it up to the audience. Okay, we'll open to the audience. Also, if there are any panelists that would like to ask questions to the rest of the panel, please feel free as well. Oh, I guess these are the microphones, or is there another?
Hiya. So I'm Amy from the UK Young Academy staff team. And I guess we're kind of really interested as a new Young Academy. We only launched about sort of 3 years ago. How you, from an IAP perspective, but also anyone else on the panel, are going to make this kind of Young Affiliates program different to a lot of the offerings that are offered now with other international networks. So, for example, we've just joined the International Science Council, kind of equivalent for young academies. We're looking to see, what kind of ALIA are offering in this space, but obviously that kind of starts to run a risk that everyone's kind of going to maybe overlap. So is there going to be a distinct remit for this group? Is that kind of what our young academies are able to provide? And I'm really interested to hear those thoughts on that.
Would Stephanie or Peter like to take that one?
Sorry, I'll try. So when we started to consider this, I think part of it was that there were young academies who wanted to be part of the international network. And the IAP, as a membership network, has a, I want to say personal, but that's not the right word, but a kind of informal, perhaps, relationship between academies, and the interactions are as was said earlier, kind of community level. And that was, I think, what some of the young academies were asking to be a part of. And what it really offers is an easy access to collaboration and cooperation between, as you say, any academy and any young academy, which is not to say that that this replaces the role of membership of other associations and other more broader or different networks. So I think for the academies, it is a case of you have your own, mostly have your own national academy, which starts that sort of vertical interaction. But the access to the network of academies across the world, I think was really what was the main kind of attraction. We have a very simple kind of policy which it applies to any young academy that chooses to affiliate itself with the IAP. It's really quite straightforward, and it's really just about membership criteria and how people become members and how, if there's an association with your national academy. It's not very complicated, but it is, I think, a welcoming situation.
I'm Takatal Yohannes from Ethiopian Academy of Science. I'm Executive Director. And, the Ethiopian Academy of Science initiated Young Academy some 10 years ago. And the academy is not that vibrant. And just a year ago, the senior board came together and said, originally we want them to be independent, and that didn't work out. So we gave them semi-autonomous status and have a focal person at the senior academy. My question is, how are these academies structured? Are they independent, full-fledged organizations, or like we said, semi-autonomous tied to the seniors? There have to be some mechanisms to connect them. Otherwise, it's a 5 years duration, and they don't find them. We need them, but they are not there. So can you tell us your experience, how you are structured? How is the relationship between the young academy and the senior one? It's almost at the same time that we started the young academy, but they are not vibrant like we have in the senior ones. I don't know if I'm clear.
Let me start, and then I'll hand the microphone over to some of the others. The answer is that it depends. There is no one rule or one formula. In some countries, the young academy is kind of a part of the senior academy, and in many others, they are independent young academies on their own, and to some extent communicating and collaborating, but not under the instruction, if you like, or the control of the senior academy. So it really depends on the way in which the membership of the young academy has been established. There are some in which there is a sort of subscription to join. Not many, but so there are very different patterns, and we don't prescribe how the young academy should be formulated or structured, except that it must be based on academic standards.
As you said, like ours is part of this senior academy, and we have a section on the Swiss Young Academy, but we are quite independent, still depending on them for the budget. But once we have it, we can do our own project. I don't know if someone wants to give another example.
Just something additional is like we have a meeting, so they can the senior academy can invite us. We have a meeting we can call like inspire and mentor. That means we provide the fresh ideas that's been inspiring, but then they also provide kind of mentorship.
Just one sentence. On GYA's website, you find a booklet on global overview with all young academies worldwide. And we tried to also map the different structures. So if you want to have certain information on a certain country, you can start with our website. And well, I think these 11 here are definitely included, but there are about 50 more young academies included. And we do a review every second or third year that the booklet is republished and refreshed, so it should be quite recent.
So at least the INEAS is also part of INSA. We do get the budget allocation from them, but in terms of operations, it's completely autonomous. So on a daily basis operations, the entire core team looks into its activities, and whether it's membership selection to event organization, and everything is completely independent, and we do have our own thing, and we are in the process of drafting our own constitution, though it's been a series of things how to an young academy operates, what we've been practicing over 10 years, but we don't have a formal document yet. So now we are in the process of even finalizing the constitution of our own, suggesting that we are definitely a very well independent organization with a great support from our parent academy.
Okay, we'll do Japan or sorry, Kay, and then we'll take another one from the audience. Is there a closer?
So thank you for the question. So my formal affiliation is called Young Academy of Japan, the Science Council of Japan. So which means our Young Academy of Japan is under the umbrella of the Senior Association, the Senior Academy of Japan. But we are completely independent in terms of the finance and in terms of the code of conduct. So we are respected from the Senior Academy of Science Council of Japan, and we have had a good collaboration, a good good relationship between senior and young academies, and Senior Academy always take care of younger academy, and they are the good mentor, and they are good advisor for young academies to move forward. Move forward to the future. And I think the affiliation is not always important. So the relationship between the senior academy and young academy is very important, and we are very comfortable. We feel very respectful with the Senior Academy of Japan.
Thank you. There are a lot of questions in the audience. So in the interest of time, we will take 2 questions right now, and then I will have to limit responses to 1 or 2 per question. Go ahead.
I'd like to say something as just a commentary. The only difference between the young scientist and the senior scientist is that the young scientist lack experiences. See, that is the only difference. But lack of experience also indicates lack of instruction for his or her own research direction. You see, that's why we mentioned about mentorship or other kind of things. And so this means that young scientists are likely to imitate senior scientist activities and methodology, even theoretical framework, because they lack experience. And so lack of experience, really important problem to young scientists, which means that we need to focus on how to improve, you see, making their own instruction for his or her own future research. See, without building effective operating system over his or her own research capability, basically is wasting life of a research scientist. See, cannot produce innovation either. So in a sense, in the spirit of young academic science, probably should focus on how to improve their own effective operating system for his her own research capability for the future production and innovation. And so as a social scientist, I am talking about basic principle of human behavior, about lack of experience. That is just my commentary. Thank you.
Thank you. I believe there's a question up here. Yes. Do you? Or there's one here. Why don't we come to her first, and then we'll go to her in the back.
Okay. Thank you. This is Reda Vasyuni. I'm the provost of Saxony Egypt University currently, and I'm an alumna of the Global Young Academy. And I feel sorry that the Egyptian Young Academy is not represented here, but I think that I can speak on behalf because I was one of the co-founders together with the Global Young Academy. We were entitled, like independently, 6 of us from the Global Young Academy were sitting together, and we were able to collaborate with the Senior Academy of Sciences, sorry, and we founded the Egyptian Young Academy in 2014. And since then, it's there. And I'm very proud that the current president of the Senior Academy of Sciences here is Jean Alfei, who is one of the Egyptian Young Academy scientists in the first cohort. So I'm very proud. And so I'm looking forward that everyone here from the Young Academies be on this stage at one point. So thank you and welcome to Egypt.
Yeah, I think back there, she had a question. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm Palesa from South Africa. Actually wanting to speak to the comment earlier on that was referring to taking or interacting with the communities and, sort of conducting science with that, but not being able to give back. I think the mindset is shifting for, well, at least where I come from, in the Eastern Cape, whereby we really want communities to be the ones to inform the scientists. Well, because I'm based in the university, so and not in the Science Council, but in my previous role, I was in the Science Council, whereby much of the work that we're trying to agitate to is engaged to research with the community. Because I think also we as scientists, we have this culture of wanting to have a top-down approach to the community, whereas there's a lot of work that's taking place in the community, but then we do not have an understanding as to how we can shift the community to direct the scientists in order for us to how can I put it, ensure that we can upscale that work where possible, as showcasing it either for further uptake informing policy and direction, and finding our space as to how do we collaborate with the community as informed by them. So I just wanted to challenge that, and I'm hoping that I could hear also from other countries and the science councils, how are they working with their communities to sort of change that narrative. Thank you.
Thank you. David, go ahead.
Thank you so much. I'm actually responding to a couple of comments that I heard earlier, so just bear with me. So yeah, I take the, I didn't get the gentleman's name at the second table, but I also heard earlier about our Japanese colleague and the policy paper that they wrote on the 10 critical challenges in Japan. And I think for us, one of the key things that we're looking for within this partnership and interacting with the senior and young academies is trying to develop or refresh or revise the research agenda for young scientists. Because things have changed over the last 5 to 10 years, and we need to have that sort of guidance that you were talking about earlier in terms of where are we taking our research? Are we really working on the things that are critical from a regional and a global perspective? As a South African Young Academy, we have over the past year had a strong focus on innovation and entrepreneurship. From a young scientist perspective, taking their research ideas and implementing them and commercializing them and really making that kind of tangible impact. And I think the Royal Academy of Engineering in the UK has been quite good at putting together these kind of researcher toolkits for that purpose. And you'd want to see that kind of expanded out to the different regions that are represented here. And then lastly, I just want to come back to the comment that I made earlier in the session, and that is help with stakeholder engagement, because speaking to the policymakers, speaking to the communities is vitally important. If I talk from a business perspective, you really need to understand what your customer needs before you develop the product. But I mean, that should be the same with science as well. We need to have a keen understanding of what the challenges are before we begin to address them. So I'm hoping these are the things that we could develop through this partnership.
Yeah, just talking about some of the experiences that are being the implementation science frameworks in many studies in Switzerland. They are adopting quite importantly to have implementation science framework where the communities are involved since the designing of the study up to the publication. It's not just only one flight to go to look for the participant, but participants are also involved from the beginning of the designing. There is also the citizen research ongoing, where the citizens are on the field, are really engaged and contribute to the knowledge, the development of knowledge. Not only researchers contribute their knowledge and bring them to the community. So.
Thank you. We'll take another question from the audience. Let's do one from her and then we'll do yours.
Hi, here's Duha Shalla from Palestine. So my question was, earlier in the years when I was an undergraduate, I was always interested on be able to engage in the science and policy work. So my question to the young academies, in Palestine, we have a young academy and we have the academy itself. But my question was that for the younger who are younger than the youngest, doing the academy. Do we have the chance really to be able to engage? Do you have any programs? Because when you are interested in being in the science field and do policy work, you need some mentorship. You need someone who's really guiding you, a senior that would be really guiding the way to do it. And coming also from a conflict affected area, it's very hard also to build such a career. So I would love to know if there is any ongoing program or ideas of engaging the younger people like me earlier in the years. Thank you.
Thank you. I think this is a this is a great initiative. Speaking as somebody who has benefited from the Young Academies as a member of a Global Young Academy. But you know, despite the progress, there are some structural barriers. So I just wanted to ask whether at the IAP level or anybody else could also contribute, whether there are some ways to overcome, say for instance, for the young researchers, that one of the biggest issues they have is funding. So who is in the room, you know, is decided by funding. Are you able to fly to these venues? Another barrier is access to visas. And this is affecting a lot of people. I know we can do it remotely, but there's a different atmosphere. When you're in the room, you're able to make some contributions. So are there programs or discussions happening in terms of dismantling some of these structural barriers to allow more people to participate? Thank you.
Yeah, maybe I can go first. For those who were in the room at the very start of this morning, I announced that IAP is now sending out for endorsement to its member academies its latest statement. And there are sections in that. It's called Global Science, Global Solutions. And it was based partly on a webinar that we held last year on promoting scientific exchanges, barriers to scientific exchanges, and so on. So I encourage you all to take a look at that statement, discuss it in your academies, and ideally endorse it. And if I'm not mistaken, the young affiliates are also eligible and encouraged to sign on to that statement also.
From the UK Young Academy side, well, thanks first for the comments, for the questions. I think all made sense from our side. I think, well, we have some working groups. We have the at-risk scholar, we have the science and tech policy working group as well. We have the visa working group that just started. So I think we have 140 members we can really bring to these different subjects, which is very interesting. And the structure is very important, how to move these things forward. Essentially, like the value proposition is key for the communities we talk about, for the mentors, especially we are at a period where, like, yeah, time, funding, we don't have unlimited resources. And this would be very important for even from various different countries in the world. So I think also we saw with IAP the transparency and trust earlier. Yeah, bring the structures, the right tools, very, very important. Yeah, thank you.
I just want to comment to the question of how we involve the young people to Young Academy. In the project we implement in the Swiss Young Academy, the research assistants are always the young people. They are not the people who are involved in the project in the Swiss Young Academy, but the young people. So another thing is the involvement in social medias, where what we do, we invite also young people to follow on social medias. And the last thing is, during the project, we have the project, for example, podcast, and these podcasts are done by the young people, not the young academies representatives.
Okay, we will do, all right, we'll take two more. The lady in the green shirt, and then, yes, sorry, yes, the man in the suit. Go ahead.
Hi, Shakila Tangarachinam, Vice President International of Academy of Medical Science in UK. Many of the senior academies, such as ourselves, do devote a lot of time for capacity building, supporting early career researchers. We would like to hear from you what you would like to be the top 3 things that the senior academies would like to offer to you. What would you like us to offer to you to support what you do?
Thank you. I'm Camilo Delgado from Colombia, the Junior Academy. My question is related that how we can join a force as a young academies to improve the job market quality for early career researchers. To the job market quality, for the early career researchers, that now is an issue for all the early career scientists.
I just want to touch on a previous comment as well before coming back to the gentleman's question. Yeah, so in the South African Young Academy, I mean, we get to be part of it for 5 years, and at the end of those 5 years, those members become alumni, but are still very much engaged with the Young Academy, and some of our alumni have gone on to become members of the Senior Academy as well. So there's that, generational link there, and I think it's quite a useful one because you're able to, once the fresh members come in, are able to lean on that experience and leverage that, and are able to be plugged into certain activities and developments that are occurring both within the Young Academy and the Senior Academy. And we also, as Prof. Burton alluded to, there's a good relationship between the Senior and the Young Academy in that we often get invited to share platforms, become part of certain initiatives and activities that are being run by the Senior Academy, where we get exposure, get a chance for our voice to be heard, and I think in that way, that synergistic existence goes a long way to helping the very young scientists become more involved. And just on the last question, I think that's actually quite well linked to the point I made earlier about enabling our young scientists to become more innovative and entrepreneurial, and to create businesses and employment, and enabling these technologies to become part of our day-to-day lives. The research really becoming implemented in that way, and I'd like to see more of that being grown out of these partnerships.
Can I just add something here?
Okay, so
is it possible to comment something?
Go ahead,
Hello?
Nishant.
Yeah,
Can you
okay,
hear
thank you. So just wanted to comment on the Senior Academy question. So, I mean, that's a very important thing to be mentioned here. As my South African colleague also mentioned, the mentorship and support that we seek from our Senior Academy and the joint efforts that go in both ways between the Senior Academy and the Young Academy is very critical for the growth of the Young Academy. So what we probably, most of the Young Academies are seeking are the support that our Senior Academies give to us. And in certain activities, probably when we can drive some of these activities together, like with our Senior Academy, INSA, we do some activities where we are working with the Senior Academy. And in fact, our Young Academy has different zones. So we have 10 zones across the country. And similarly, our Senior Academy also has local chapters across the country. So Our senior academy also encourages, and we also love to try and involve more of our senior academic fellows into some of these zonal activities. So if we are able to come together for some of these activities, that impact also advances a lot more when we see the extent and the feedbacks that we receive from our beneficiaries for these programs. The impact does seem to be much more than if we are doing it on our own. So the kind of mentorship and support that we get from the senior academy is very critical, and this is something that we seek more than anything else. Thank you.
Thank you. Josephine, did you want to answer?
Yes, thank you. So just on the first question about how senior academies could support young academies' top 3 priorities, I think broadly our top 3 priorities would be partnering and collaborating for knowledge sharing, training and development, which we've spoken a lot about. And I know there was a comment from the gentleman at the front earlier about that. I agree. I think it's important that this just doesn't just imitate previous instruction, but I think when there is training that's coming from intersectional disciplines, or for example mentorship in how to engage with policymakers effectively, then I think actually that type of mentorship and training, which isn't just embedding previous silos, can stimulate quite exciting new ideas and new innovative ways of doing things. And also, third point, I think international representation. So again, being here and engaging with these sorts of fora, I think is really important for us. And on the second question, on how to improve job market for early career researchers, I think this is a really timely and important question. Any ideas are welcome here, but we do have a project within the UKYA at the moment, which is specifically minded to inspiring young researchers from challenging backgrounds and giving role models and platforming different approaches that can be employed. But I think, yeah, I agree. It would be great to have further ideas on how to tackle this.
Okay, we will take 2 final questions. Diane, and then the gentleman in the back.
Well, I just want to ask a question, I suppose, that picks up on the previous thread of conversation, because I'm struck by the fact that we've gotten this far in the conversation and we haven't really spoken about job precarity. And I worry, what I see in my kind of particular context in Ireland is that precarity is increasingly being normalized as a mid-career experience. It's not just a period that you sort of hopefully push through and find some greater security. It's being extended further and further up the kind of the career ladder. And it just strikes me, this is maybe more a suggestion than a question. I'm interested, though, in the responses of any panel members who care to comment. Maybe this affiliate program with its specific intergenerationalism is particularly well designed to speak to this issue, both from senior and junior ends of the spectrum, because my strong belief is that we are normalizing precarity more and more in various ways, and any venture that would kind of push back on that, I think, would be very welcome. Thank you.
I represent the Korean Academy of Science and Technology cast. We have the young academy called Y cast, and like in Japan, the Y cast is part of the established society, but it's quite independent, and we fully support the Y cast. And we invite the chair of the Y cast on for our monthly executive committee member meeting. And I heard there are more than 50 countries which already have the established the Young Academy, and many others are planning. So in this context, I'd like to suggest maybe IAP prepare some guidelines or the instructions or framework to for the optimal or proper maintenance of the Young Academy, or help the establishment of the Young Academy in the near future. And maybe we can help them organize the triennial meeting and the General Assembly in conjunction with these main components or independently? Thank you.
Thank you. Just to, and Beate, correct me if I'm wrong, GYA does have information on the establishment of young academies, but I will hand it over for answers to this question.
I won't comment on the establishment. As you said, we do have some guidelines, and we can certainly work on those. But I wanted to make a comment about what Diane had to say. Just briefly, I think that the issue of jobs and opportunities for young academics, for researchers in general, is indeed very precarious. And I see an opportunity there in that senior academies, in some cases, have the ear of policymakers, and joining forces with the young academies to present the problem to the policymakers in a I think would be very powerful. And I think that's an opportunity that senior academies could most certainly take up by just making sure that they carry the message with their young associates to the policymakers. Thank you.
Yeah, just in addition to what we say, they will, in Swiss Young Academy, will have an idea of revising the criteria of evaluation in terms of achievements of early career researchers. And this was discussed with Senior Young Academy funders like Swiss National Funding. We had recently a discussion with Swiss National Funding about revising the criteria for funding early career research, because they always have such higher standard that we cannot be achieved by a younger research. Also the same to the universities and to the policymakers. Yeah.
Ron, would you like to make your comments?
Thank you, and thank you very much for this session. It went exactly as we were hoping at the IAP Secretariat level it will go. My name is Rania Costi, and I'm the director of the Secretariat Office of IAP in Washington, D.C. I want to kind of reflect and maybe try to address your question as well about how we differ from other maybe international efforts. I won't answer that question, but I want to just say what we will be doing and what we commit to doing. First of all, I think that the way we decided to include young academies as affiliates was an extremely well thought process. We were not looking to expand. We don't have the resources to expand. It's not our goal. So Stephanie, who led the effort, really, it was a one-year effort. So we balanced the benefits with the potential drawbacks of including young affiliates. And obviously we came where we came. We commit to engage you. This is not just the only session that we are engaging young affiliates. I would say that more or less in every single session of this conference, young early career scientists are sprinkled everywhere. And this is what we commit on doing. We expect and we hope that you will be participating in our working groups and in planning committees. Obviously, the way that it's our bylaws are structured, you're not full members, so you cannot be part of the governance, but you can be part of all the planning activities and projects. We have a programmatic committee. We have 3 programmatic committees. One of the 3 is called the Capacity Committee that, again, Stephanie co-leads. And what we hope is that we will use the Capacity Committee for the mentorship programs and the other requests that we heard today. And we kind of also had imagined that this would be very useful. So at some point in the new year, when we establish, or it is established, when the incoming Capacity Committee is in place, we will be reaching out and invite you to engage with the Capacity Committee and take it from there. Very importantly, and that's not new for young affiliates, we have been doing it for the past 3 years, I think. We offer competitive small awards to IAP members and to young academies. Back then, it was if you partner with a senior academy. Now, as young affiliates, you can be doing that by yourselves. And we hope that these awards will continue. Of course, it's subject to funding, but we hope they will continue in the future. So I hope there are convincing enough reasons why it's important to engage with IAP, and we very much look forward to. From my perspective, two things that I think you can help us with. I find that many of the early mid-career scientists are trained in multidisciplinary way, as opposed to the traditional one discipline per time way that most of us have been trained. So that's one thing, very positive. And I also find that you're better communicators, and we need help with communications. What are the ways that you guys want to learn and receive your information, you help us with this process as well. I think many of you will be observing the General Assembly, and we will have a discussion on communications there. So I hope that we hear your views on how we can do better. Thank you.
Thank you. So with that, that concludes our session. I would like to thank you all for participating, for your perspectives and insights. And IAP would also like to welcome you yet again as young affiliates. So thank you. And that's all. And now it will be time for lunch, I believe. Yep.